Welcome to the imaginal door. Before we begin, settle in and remember this. Imagination is not idle daydreaming. It is the workshop where your life is quietly made. Let's step inside. The desire is not late. You keep meeting it as unborn. That is the quiet wound behind the wish that refuses to come. You may think you are waiting for an event, a message, an opening, an apology, a payment, a yes. But Neville would ask a more surgical question. Where are you standing in consciousness while you wait? Not where are you standing in time? Not what day is it? Not how many months have passed? Where are you inwardly living? Because imagination does not merely picture what may happen. In Neville's teaching, imagination is the reality in which all states are entered. The outer world is not the origin, it is the echo. And one of the most practical doors Neville gave was the strange little phrase, "I remember when." Not as nostalgia, not as denial, but as relocation. You are no longer looking at your desire from the state of hunger. You are looking back at hunger from the state of fulfillment. Most manifestation advice says, keep affirming that it is coming. That sounds faithful, but it often keeps the whole structure of delay alive. Coming is not here. Coming still belongs to distance. Coming quietly preserves the identity of the one who does not have it. Here is what no one tells you about the wish that won't come. The mind can become addicted to the ache of almost loved, almost chosen, almost secure, almost healed from the story, almost there. It feels spiritual because it is intense, but intensity is not fulfillment. Neville's work asks for something more disciplined than intensity. It asks you to assume the end so completely that the former ache becomes a memory. Consider Amara, 36, sitting in a quiet corner booth at a diner in Portland after another disappointing conversation with the man she still loved. His name was Julian. For 8 months she had rehearsed the same inner scene, checking the phone, feeling rejected, wondering if he had forgotten her. Even when she practiced from lack. "He is coming back," she would whisper while her stomach remained contracted around absence. One night she stopped imagining a future reunion. She went beyond it. She placed herself 6 months after the reconciliation had already become normal. Not dramatic, not cinematic, normal. She imagined standing at her kitchen sink at dawn, Julian's coffee mug beside hers, and a friend named Celia laughing on speakerphone, saying, "Do you remember how worried you were last winter?" Amara felt herself smile, not because she was trying to force Julian, but because the old identity, the woman abandoned by life, had become past tense. That is the subtle power. "I remember when" removes the desire from the altar of desperation. It makes the delay old news. The reason you stay stuck is rarely because you lack imagination. You are imagining constantly. You imagine the silence. You imagine what it means. You imagine the worst interpretation and then call it realism. You replay the absence until absence feels like your natural home. Ask yourself this directly. When you think of your desire, do you feel yourself approaching it? Or do you feel yourself remembering the days before it was yours? That question reveals your state. So enter the imaginal act like this. Tonight, when your body is tired and your attention has softened, do not visualize the moment of getting. That moment can still carry strain. Go past the arrival. Create a small scene where someone close to you refers to your former worry as finished. Hear one sentence. Only one. "You used to be so afraid this would never happen." Let the sentence fall into you slowly. See the room from your own natural position. Feel the ease in your face. Feel the old ache as something you once carried, not something carrying you now. Do not make the scene long. Long scenes give the analytical mind too many exits. Neville favored condensation. One act, one implication, one emotional fact. The scene must imply that the desire is no longer a problem. That is enough. Before sleep tonight, choose the former trouble and put it behind you in language. Whisper inwardly, I remember when I thought this would not come. Then let the body answer. Let the shoulders lower. Let the breath become unguarded. Let the phrase become memory, not a wish. I have watched this turn quietly, again and again. The moment a person stops worshiping the delay, the desire loses its atmosphere of impossibility. Make the waiting past tense. And once the waiting becomes past tense, the next discipline is to stop trying to build the fulfilled life from scratch. You do not create the fulfilled state, you move into it. This sounds small until it breaks the whole spell of effort. Neville often spoke of states as real, existing conditions of consciousness, mansions already prepared. The lonely one, the chosen one, the indebted one, the provided one, the overlooked one, the secure one. These are not poetic moods floating around you. They are states. You enter one, and the world answers according to the state occupied. The desire that refuses to come often feels as if it is demanding construction. You think you must build the life. You must convince the world. You must repair your history. You must become impressive enough, healed enough, consistent enough, spiritual enough. But Neville's radical claim is that the fulfilled state already exists. You are not manufacturing it. You are selecting it. Most people treat imagination like a workshop. They hammer at images. They polish affirmations. They try to assemble an outcome from mental parts. That is backwards. Imagination is not a workshop. It is a dwelling place. The question is not, how do I make this happen? The question is, which room of consciousness am I sleeping in tonight? This is where the stuck desire becomes diagnostic. It reveals the mansion you keep returning to. Take Daniel, a music teacher in Tucson who wanted his original compositions performed publicly. For years, he imagined recognition, but always from outside the door. He saw himself hoping for the email, hoping for the invitation, hoping someone would finally notice. Even his visualizations had a hallway feeling. He was near the fulfilled life, but never inside it. He kept imagining the threshold. One evening, after rereading Neville's idea of states as dwelling places, Daniel stopped picturing a future opportunity. He imagined entering a room that already belonged to the man whose work had been received. The room was precise. A modest backstage green room with a scratched wooden table, a half-empty paper cup of tea, and his violin case leaning against a chair. Through the wall, he could hear musicians warming up one of his pieces. Not applause, not praise, just the ordinary sound of his work being prepared by others. That detail changed everything. He did not feel triumphant. He felt placed. The reason desire remains distant is that you keep standing in the corridor and calling it devotion. You read, watch, affirm, wait, check, compare, and ask why the door is not opening. But in imagination, the door is not there to be begged. It is there to be entered. The old state says, I am becoming. The fulfilled state says, I live here. Here is the imaginal discipline. In the drowsy borderland before sleep, build a room that could only belong to the fulfilled version of your life. Do not make it extravagant unless extravagance is natural to the end. Make it believable in texture. A hallway with your new keys in a ceramic bowl. A desk where the accepted contract is already filed away. A bedroom where you feel loved without scanning for loss. A balcony where your body feels safe enough to exhale. Then step inside, not as a visitor, as the occupant. This is the counterintuitive move. Do not stand outside the desired state admiring it. Do not imagine it like a movie you hope will include you. In Neville's method, you must occupy the scene from within. Let the room assume you. Let the furniture, light, sound, and silence imply that this is now your normal dwelling. Ask yourself, what room does your current inner life prove you are living in? If it is a room of waiting, you will know. It has tension in the walls, It has clocks everywhere. It has a phone glowing like an idol. No shame, simply leave it. Before sleep tonight, close your eyes and see a door slightly open. Behind it is not fantasy. Behind it is the state fulfilled. Push the door with your hand. Feel the handle, the weight, the slight resistance. Cross the threshold. Once inside, let one ordinary detail convince you. Sit down in that life. Breathe as the one who belongs there. You are not asking the mansion to appear. You are accepting the room already prepared. Move in inwardly. And when you have moved in, the next task is to give the unseen life one undeniable sensory fact. A vague dream does not persuade consciousness. One felt detail can. Neville did not teach daydreaming as escape. He taught imaginal reality, and reality to the human mind arrives through implication. A scene becomes alive when it carries the small sensory certainty of something already true, the warmth of a hand, the weight of a ring, the sound of a key turning, the pressure of a signed document under your palm, the smell of rain outside the apartment that is already yours. The desire that refuses to come is often surrounded by too many images and too little acceptance. You imagine 10 versions of the outcome. You revise the plan every night. You add music, drama, timelines, conversations, signs. But the inner being is not convinced by spiritual clutter. It is convinced by naturalness. Most manifestation advice says, make your visualization bigger. Neville's work often points in the opposite direction. Make it smaller. Make it exact. Make it so simple that your deeper mind can wear it without resistance. A single sensory fact can carry the whole fulfilled state. Nadia, a nurse in Manchester, had been longing to move into her own flat after years of sharing cramped spaces with relatives. She had imagined the whole apartment repeatedly. Big windows, white curtains, a small sofa, plants, sunlight. Yet each session ended with the same feeling, nice, but far away. Her imagination was beautiful, but it remained a brochure. Then she reduced the entire desire to one moment. Standing just inside her front door, late evening, holding a cold metal key in her right hand while hearing the soft click of the lock behind her. That was all. No tour, no decorating, no announcement, just the click. In the scene, she did not feel excited. She felt private, quiet, safe, the kind of safety you do not perform. That is the mark of a good imaginal act. It implies more than it shows. The old assumption that keeps you stuck is the belief that a desire must be emotionally overwhelming to be effective. So you chase intensity. You try to make yourself cry, shake, smile, glow, vibrate. But Neville's feeling is not emotional fireworks. Feeling is acceptance. It is the felt sense of reality. Sometimes the most creative feeling is not ecstasy. It is relief so ordinary that the nervous system stops arguing. Here is what I would tell the weary seeker. Stop trying to convince yourself with scale. Convince yourself with contact. To practice this, choose one object, sound, or texture that would naturally exist after the desire is fulfilled. If your desire is reconciliation with someone, do not imagine controlling their decision. Imagine your own self-concept reflected in an ordinary moment. Your phone resting calmly on the bedside table after a warm, settled conversation. Your body no longer braced against abandonment. If your desire is financial ease, feel the smooth edge of a receipt already paid, or the calm weight of your wallet as something unthreatening. If the desire is being seen, feel the microphone in your hand after the talk has already begun. What one physical detail would be impossible unless the desire were already part of your life. Use that. As you enter the state akin to sleep, bring the scene close, not wide, close. Let the hand feel what it would feel. Let the ear hear the sound. Loop the moment gently. 5 seconds is enough if it is inhabited. Neville's method is not strained concentration. It is a return. You return to the same living implication until it begins to feel less imagined and more remembered. Do not narrate. Do not explain. Do not beg the scene to work. Touch the key. Hear the click. Feel the fabric. Receive the handshake. Smile at the message already normal on the screen. Then let the body sink. Before sleep tonight, reduce your desire to one sensory fact. Write nothing elaborate. Plan nothing elaborate. Choose the detail, enter drowsiness, and repeat that single moment until it carries the quiet stamp of yes, this is mine. The mind may ask, is that enough? That question belongs to the old state. A seed is small because it knows what it is. One real feeling detail outweighs 100 anxious fantasies. And once the detail feels real, you must learn the kind of persistence that does not beg. Persistence is not pleading. It is the refusal to re-enter the state that said no. Neville loved the biblical image of brazen impudence, the one who asks at midnight and will not be turned away. But he did not teach this as noisy desperation. He did not mean chasing, forcing, bargaining, or exhausting yourself with rituals. Brazen impudence is inner audacity. It is the calm insolence of consciousness that has accepted its assumption and no longer kneels before appearances. This matters most when the desire seems to refuse you. Something happened. The email did not come. The person stayed silent. The account balance looked the same. The body, the family, the mirror, the calendar, all of it appeared to testify against the imaginal act, and the old self rushed back to the courtroom. Most people think persistence means repeating the technique more times. That is not the heart of it. Repetition can be fear in costume. You can repeat affirmations all day and still be bowing inwardly to the problem. Neville's persistence is not more noise. It is remaining in the assumed reality when the senses present a contradiction. There is a difference between insisting and panicking. Marcus, a freelance architect in Chicago, had submitted a proposal for a project he deeply wanted. The client went silent for 3 weeks. During those weeks, Marcus kept checking his inbox like a man touching a bruise. He called it staying available, but inwardly he was rehearsing rejection. Each refresh said, "I am not chosen yet." One night he tried something different. He sat in his dim living room, city lights reflecting on the window, and imagined his friend Rosalind clapping him on the shoulder at a small breakfast place near Damon Avenue. She said, "Of course they picked you. The design had your name all over it." He felt the rough edge of the cafe table under his fingers. He heard the plate being set down. He let himself answer with a quiet, almost bored, "I know." That "I know" was the practice. The next day, nothing changed. This is where most people abandon the state. They say, "It didn't work." But what they mean is, the outer world did not immediately flatter my inner act, so I returned to my former identity. Brazen quietness says no. It does not demand instant applause from the mirror. It holds the assumption without dramatizing the silence. Ask yourself, when life seems to deny your desire, do you become more convinced of the end or more loyal to the denial? The stuck place is usually there, not in the first imaginal act, but in the first contradiction after the act. The old state waits for that moment. It says, "See, nothing happened. If you agree, you resurrect it." So build your technique around the contradiction itself. In the drowsy state, imagine receiving news after a delay. Do not erase the fact that there was a period of quiet. Let the fulfilled scene include the line, "The wait made sense later." Hear it from someone whose presence feels stabilizing, or say it yourself while looking out at morning light. The aim is not to worship delay. The aim is to remove delay's authority. Feel the particular boldness of being unshaken, not aggressive, not tense. A settled spine, a loose jaw, the dignity of someone who has stopped asking the world for permission to assume. Before sleep tonight, identify the exact evidence that has been intimidating you. The unread message, the empty chair, the number on the screen, the unanswered application. Then place yourself beyond it. Hear one sentence that makes the contradiction powerless. That silence was not the end. That number was not the verdict. That pause was part of the bridge. Let the line be calm enough to believe. Here is my aside, because it matters. The law is not tested by how spiritual you feel while imagining. It is tested by who you become when the old evidence knocks. Brazen impudence does not shout, it remains. Do not beg the door, stand as the one it opens to. And when you can remain, you are ready to reverse the current that once made facts your emotional master. You have been waiting for the fact to give you the feeling, but Neville asks you to let the feeling become the fact's parent. This is the law of reversibility in living form. If an outer event can produce a feeling in you, then that feeling, assumed inwardly, can imply the event. The world says, when it happens, I will relax. Neville says, relax as though it has happened and you have entered the creative side of the equation. Not relax as a trick, not pretend while secretly measuring the room for proof. Relax because consciousness is causative and feeling is the secret of embodiment. The desire that refuses to come often has one emotional current running under it, postponement. You keep assigning peace to the future. You tell yourself, when I receive the answer, then I will feel safe. When they choose me, then I will feel worthy. When the money arrives, then I will unclench. When the door opens, then I will stop feeling like life is against me. But that arrangement makes the outer event your God. It grants the circumstance the power Neville gave to imagination. Most advice says, be realistic. You cannot feel it until it happens. Neville's teaching is almost offensive to that habit. He would say that the feeling is the true occupancy. You are not asked to fake happiness. You are asked to assume the inner consequence of the fulfilled desire before the senses confirm it. Elena, a bookkeeper in Queens, wanted a debt issue resolved. Every morning she woke with a hard knot under her ribs. She would open her banking app before getting out of bed, and the knot would tighten. Her desire was not only for money, it was for the bodily experience of being released from pursuit. One evening she asked a more exact question. How would my body feel 30 minutes after this was handled? Not while receiving the news, not during the dramatic moment. 30 minutes after, she imagined sitting on the edge of her bathtub in a quiet apartment, brushing her hair slowly with the issue already settled. The apartment sounded ordinary. A neighbor's dog barked once. A radiator hissed. Her phone was on the sink, irrelevant. What mattered was the feeling, the absence of threat. That was the reversal. The old state kept saying, look at the problem, then feel. The imaginal act said, feel the release and let the world follow the state. Where do you still make your peace conditional? That question is not gentle, but it is liberating. Conditional peace means the desire is still outside you. It is still an authority you must appease. And the longer you make peace conditional, the more practiced you become in the state of not yet safe. To work with this, do not begin with the picture. Begin with the emotional aftereffect. Ask what feeling the fulfilled desire would give you if it were already ordinary. Relief, belonging, privacy, expansion, ease, being chosen without performance, being provided for without panic. Name it quietly. Then let a scene form that naturally contains that feeling. In the state akin to sleep, place the body in the after feeling. Let the breath change first, then the scene. If the fulfilled desire would make your chest loose, let it loosen. If it would make your face softer, let the face soften. If it would make your stomach unguarded, let it unclench. The body is not separate from imagination. It is one of imagination's instruments. Then allow one short scene to justify the feeling. You are not trying to force sensation. You are letting the fulfilled state borrow the body for a few minutes. Before bed tonight, do not ask, "What do I want?" Ask, "What would I feel if I no longer had to want this?" That is the current you reverse. Enter drowsiness with that feeling already present. Let the scene rise from it. Repeat gently until the feeling no longer seems dependent on tomorrow. I have seen people miss this because they are loyal to drama. They think if the fulfillment is not emotionally explosive, it is not real. But many answered prayers feel like a nervous system finally telling the truth. I am no longer in danger. The feeling is not the reward. The feeling is the entrance. And after the current is reversed, you need to prove to yourself that imagination works even when the desire is not loaded with fear. Sometimes the fastest way to restore faith in the big desire is to stop touching it for a moment. Neville's ladder experiment is famous for a reason, but not for the childish reason people sometimes make of it. It was not a party trick. It was not about ladders. It was a controlled test of imaginal causation. Imagine climbing a ladder in the drowsy state, then outwardly deny it if you wish, and watch the deeper assumption find expression. The point was to prove that imagination, when accepted, moves beneath the surface arguments of the conscious mind. For the desire that refuses to come, this matters deeply. When a wish is heavy with history, the mind becomes noisy. Every practice is contaminated by stakes. You do not simply imagine love. You imagine every rejection you ever carried. You do not simply imagine money. You imagine every emergency. You do not simply imagine being chosen. You imagine the ache of not being chosen. The desire has become crowded. Most people respond by trying harder on the same desire. More affirmations, more checking, more emotional pressure. That can thicken the state of lack. Neville's test offers a cleaner path. Practice the law on something neutral so your consciousness can remember its own authority without trembling. Sophie, a photographer in Melbourne, had spent a year imagining a particular creative opportunity. It had become painful. Every time she sat to imagine, she felt a hidden demand. Please let this work. She was no longer practicing assumption. She was performing anxiety with spiritual language. So she chose a neutral test, not a ladder exactly, but close in spirit. She imagined holding a bright yellow umbrella. She did not own one. She did not need one. For 3 nights, as she drifted toward sleep, she felt the curved handle in her hand and saw the yellow fabric opening against a pale sky. During the day, she did not hunt for umbrellas. She simply returned to her life. On the 4th afternoon, a client asked her to shoot portraits in a studio where a yellow umbrella reflector stood open beside the window. It was not mystical theater. It was quiet, almost funny, and that was the medicine. Her imagination had touched something without desperation, and life had answered without strain. The old assumption under a stubborn desire is often, "This one is too big for me." That belief makes the desire sacred in the wrong way. You place it on a high shelf, then stare at it with hunger. The latter test brings the law back down into the ordinary. It says, consciousness is not only active when you are suffering, it is active always. What would happen if you stopped treating your desire like a final exam? This is the counterintuitive insight. Neutral practice can deepen faith more effectively than desperate practice. Not because the neutral object matters, but because your acceptance is cleaner. There is less argument, less biography, less bargaining. To use this lesson, choose a small, specific, emotionally neutral experience. Climbing a ladder, holding a blue feather, hearing a stranger say a peculiar phrase, seeing 3 white roses on a wooden table. Keep it innocent. The aim is not to command the world like a magician. The aim is to train yourself to recognize the creative operation of imagination without fear. In the drowsy state, repeat one physical action. If you choose the latter, feel your hand grip the side rail. Feel one foot rise, then the other. Let the body know the movement. If you choose a feather, feel it brush your palm. If you choose the phrase, hear it casually as if overheard in a shop. Do not add emotional strain. Do not make it holy. Let it be ordinary and accepted. Before sleep tonight, give yourself a neutral imaginal test. Then leave it alone during the day. No hunting, no explaining, no scoreboard. When it appears, do not inflate it into spectacle. Simply register. Imagination precedes experience. Here is what I have noticed. Once people see the law work on the small and innocent, the big desire loses some of its terrifying mythology. It becomes a state to enter, not a mountain to move with your bare hands. The latter is not the lesson, your acceptance is. And when acceptance returns, the next danger is digging up the seed before it has broken the soil. Checking is not faithfulness. It is often the ritual by which you replant absence. Neville used the language of seed time and harvest because consciousness has a naturalness to it. An assumption is planted in imagination, and if left undisturbed by contrary occupation, it moves toward expression through ways the surface mind may not predict. The seed does not need you to stare at the dirt every hour. It needs to remain what it is. The desire that refuses to come often has not been left alone long enough to take root in you. You imagine at night, then spend the next day asking whether it worked. You check the phone, the account, the face, the tone, the statistics, the symptoms, the silence. You call it observation, but inwardly it is interrogation. You are not looking at the world. You are asking the world, am I allowed to believe yet? Most manifestation advice romanticizes signs. Wait for a sign, look for alignment, count angel numbers, track every coincidence. Neville's discipline is more severe and more freeing. Do not make the world your permission slip. The world is the outpicturing. When you keep asking the outpicturing for permission to assume, you reverse the order. Priya, a graduate student in Toronto, had applied for a research placement she wanted intensely. Each morning she opened the application portal before brushing her teeth. No update, no update, no update. By the 10th day, she was no longer living in the imaginal acceptance she had touched at night. She was living in the portal. Her state had become not selected yet. Then she made a rule, not from superstition, but from self-respect. She would check once at noon and only from the state of someone already chosen. Before opening the portal, she would close her eyes for 10 seconds and hear her supervisor, Doctor, Nair, say, "We are glad you accepted. Not we hope, not maybe. Accepted." Then she would open the page calmly and continue her day. The outer result did not arrive that morning, but something more immediate changed. She stopped giving the portal spiritual authority. The stuck assumption is this: until I see movement, I must remain emotionally available to doubt. That sounds rational. It is actually bondage. It means evidence gets to decide who you are. Neville is not asking you to ignore your life irresponsibly. He is asking you not to let every unripe appearance uproot the assumption. Where are you still digging? Be honest. Is it the message thread, the bank app, the job board, their social media, the mirror, the family conversation, the memory of what happened before? Each check may look harmless, but ask what state performs it. If the check is done from peace, it leaves no wound. If it is done from hunger, it deepens hunger. The imaginal technique here is simple: plant and cover. Before sleep, enter the fulfilled scene briefly and completely. Then imagine placing that scene like a seed into warm, luminous soil. This is symbolism, yes, but useful symbolism. See yourself covering it gently, not burying it in fear, but entrusting it. Then feel the satisfaction of no longer needing to disturb it. The scene is not dead underground. It is alive beyond your management. After that, move into ordinary sleep, with the mood of having done enough. Tonight's practice is to choose one checking behavior and suspend it for one evening. Not forever, one evening. In the space where you would normally check, return to the inner sentence that implies fulfillment. It is already accepted. It is already arranged. I am already the one who is chosen by life. Let the body learn that not checking does not mean losing control. It means withdrawing worship from the mirror. I will say this plainly. Many people do not fail at imagination. They fail at leaving imagination undisturbed. Let the seed be seed. And while it grows unseen, life may begin moving through events that look nothing like your plan. The first movement of your answered desire may look like a detour, not a blessing. Neville called it the bridge of incidents, the chain of events through which an imaginal act externalizes itself. The danger is that the bridge rarely announces itself. It does not always look holy. It may look like a delay, a cancellation, an awkward conversation, a sudden urge, a closed door, an ordinary invitation you almost ignore. The surface mind wants the end to arrive in a straight line. Imagination often moves through a pattern too intelligent for the old state to recognize. The desire that refuses to come can seem immovable because you keep rejecting the early movements as wrong. You imagined peace, and then a conflict surfaced. You imagined work, and then one client left. You imagined love, and then a conversation exposed the exact self-concept you must stop wearing. You imagined a new home, and then your current arrangement became uncomfortable. The old mind says, this is proof it failed. The deeper reading may be, the bridge has started. Most manifestation advice says, if it feels bad, you are out of alignment. That is too crude. Neville's teaching is not emotional avoidance. A bridge can include scenes your former self would label inconvenient because those scenes move you out of the old arrangement. The key is not to glorify hardship. The key is to stop interpreting every unexpected turn as contradiction. Jonah, a chef in Bristol, imagined owning a small breakfast cafe near the harbor. For 2 years, nothing seemed to move. Then the restaurant where he worked abruptly cut his hours. He panicked. To him, this looked like loss, but because he had been practicing the fulfilled scene, wiping down a small counter at dawn while the first customer came in from the rain, he chose not to collapse into the old assumption of being unsupported. With extra time on Wednesdays, he started helping his aunt at her flower stall. A regular customer there owned a vacant corner shop and happened to mention that the former tenant's cafe equipment was still inside. The bridge did not begin as a miracle. It began as reduced hours. This is why Neville warned against judging by appearances. Not because appearances are evil, but because they are incomplete. The old state wants to freeze the first incident and call it final. The assumed state waits for the pattern to reveal itself. Ask yourself, have you been rejecting the bridge because it did not look like the destination? The inner principle is that imagination, once accepted, arranges outer conditions through natural means. Not supernatural theatrics. Natural means, people speak, plans change, invitations appear, timings shift. You feel moved to take a different street, send a simple message, clear a drawer, answer a call. From the outside, it looks ordinary. From within, it has a quiet inevitability. The stuckness comes from demanding that life move in the way your anxious mind pre-approved. You want certainty at every step, but certainty belongs to the end, not necessarily to the bridge. If you require the bridge to feel safe at every inch, you may keep stepping off it. To practice this imaginally, choose a scene that implies you are looking back on the path with understanding. In the drowsy state, imagine telling a trusted friend, that odd turn was exactly how it happened. Feel the humor of hindsight. Feel the relief that the confusing middle was not meaningless. Let the scene be after the bridge, not inside the confusion. Build it concretely. You are walking beside someone on a quiet morning path. Maybe the sea is to your left. Maybe you are holding coffee. They ask, "Can you believe that was the way it came together?" You laugh softly and say, "I would never have planned it that way." Feel the truth of that sentence. Before sleep tonight, stop asking for the bridge to identify itself. Instead, assume that whatever needs to arrange itself is already arranging. Then choose one small impulse tomorrow that belongs to the fulfilled self, not the frightened self. Answer the email, clear the desk, take the walk, do the ordinary thing without making it carry the weight of destiny. Here is what no one tells you. The bridge often feels normal while you are on it. Only later does it glow. Do not curse the road because it bends. And once the bridge begins, your inner speech must stop calling you the person who never arrives. The name you answer to inwardly becomes the life you keep recognizing. Neville's teaching on I am is not merely mystical language. It is the root of identity. Whatever follows I am in feeling becomes a state you animate. You may not say it aloud. You may not even phrase it clearly. But consciousness is always naming itself. I am forgotten. I am late. I am the one who almost gets it. I am difficult to choose. I am always starting over. I am behind. I am unlucky with this desire. The desire that refuses to come often has a hidden name attached to it. Not the name of the desire, your name, the secret name you have accepted in relation to it. Most manifestation advice focuses on the object, the relationship, the money, the opportunity, the healing story, the apology, the recognition. But Neville keeps bringing you back to the being who says I, not as ego, as awareness assuming form. If the object changes while the inner name remains unwanted, the old state will seek new evidence. The hunger will reincarnate. Lena, a translator in Prague, wanted to be invited into a circle of writers she admired. She imagined dinners, conversations, publications, acceptance. But beneath every image was a private name, outsider. She had worn it since school. She could enter a room where people liked her and still hear the old verdict. I am not really one of them. One winter evening, she sat near the Vltava River after a reading and noticed that the pain was not about that particular group. It was an identity. That night, in the drowsy state, she did not imagine applause or an invitation. She imagined walking into a small book-lined apartment where 3 friends looked up naturally and made space for her coat on the chair. No one over-welcomed her. No one rescued her. They simply included her because she belonged. The inner sentence was not, "They finally accept me." It was, "I am one of us." That sentence changed the name. The reason people remain stuck is that they try to manifest an event while keeping the old self-description intact. I am abandoned, but make them stay. I am unsafe, but send money. I am invisible, but make them notice. This is not assumption. It is contradiction. The deeper self does not respond to the words alone. It responds to the felt name. What do you secretly call yourself when you think about this desire? Do not answer quickly. The first answer may be spiritual. The second may be honest. The technique is to find a name that belongs to the fulfilled state and wear it without theatrics. Not a slogan, a name. The chosen one may feel too dramatic for some nervous systems. The one who is included may land. The one life makes room for. The one whose work is received. The one who is easy to love. The one who is safely provided for. The right name has quiet force. It does not puff you up, it settles you. In the state akin to sleep, let the name become embodied through a scene. Do not repeat it mechanically while feeling the opposite. Place yourself where the name is obvious. If you are the one life makes room for, imagine arriving at a crowded table and seeing a chair already pulled out. If you are the one whose work is received, Imagine someone placing your printed pages carefully into a folder labeled for production. If you are the one who is easy to love, imagine resting beside someone while nothing needs to be proven. Let the scene call you by the new name without words. Before you sleep tonight, write one sentence privately. In this desire I used to call myself. Then write the new name. Do not choose a fantasy name meant to impress the mind. Choose the name that would make your body unclench. Carry it into drowsiness and let one scene prove it. I have watched people change more through a true inner name than through 1,000 borrowed affirmations. A borrowed phrase stays on the lips. A name enters the bones. Change who you answer to within. And when the inner name is changed, the final act is to let the imagined word take flesh without pulling it back into doubt. Your imaginal act is not a request sent into distance. It is the word beginning to clothe itself. Neville reads scripture psychologically. The word became flesh was not, for him, a remote doctrine only. It was the creative pattern of consciousness. An inner assumption, if accepted as true, seeks embodiment. The invisible becomes visible. The subjective becomes objective. The imagined becomes experienced, not by strain, but by natural externalization. This is the final lesson for the desire that refuses to come because it gathers all the others. You have moved the waiting into memory. You have entered the prepared state. You have chosen one sensory fact. You have persisted quietly. You have reversed the emotional current. You have tested imagination in neutral ground. You have stopped digging the seed. You have allowed the bridge to look strange. You have changed the inner name. Now the discipline is simple and demanding. Stop pulling the word back into the condition of prayer. Most people pray, then immediately undo the prayer by treating it as unfinished business. They imagine, then investigate. They assume, then argue. They declare, then confess absence with their reactions. They plant the word, then keep calling it imaginary in the cheap sense, unreal, private, merely mental. Neville's claim is bolder. The imaginal act is real in its own order. It is not yet seen by the senses, but it is not nothing. To live by the law is to respect the unseen act as causative. Evan, a father in Dublin, wanted a restored relationship with his adult daughter, Claire. They had not spoken warmly in years. He had tried apologizing in clumsy ways, then withdrawing, then defending himself inwardly. When he found Neville, his first impulse was to imagine Claire changing, but that would have been another form of control. The true work was his own state, becoming the father who was safe to approach, the man no longer rehearsing injury. His imaginal act was quiet. He imagined sitting at a small kitchen table on a Sunday morning, sunlight on the kettle, hearing Claire say from the doorway, "Dad, I'm glad we can talk like this now." He did not script her feelings beyond that. He did not force a personality onto her. He felt himself as steady, receptive, already forgiven within himself, not demanding a performance from her. The word was not "make her return." The word was "I am a man with whom peace is natural." Then came the hard part. For several weeks the outer world gave him no sentimental reward, but he stopped speaking of the relationship as broken. He stopped telling friends, "She never understands." He stopped composing defensive speeches in the shower. When pain rose, he returned to the kitchen table within. He let the word remain flesh-forming. That is the discipline. The old state stays alive through casual unbelief, not grand doubt, casual doubt, the sigh, the joke, the knowing my luck. The "this always happens." The private rehearsal of failure after the practice is done. Each one says the word is not flesh, it is only a wish. And consciousness, faithful as ever, reflects the state you are actually occupying. Ask yourself, after you imagine, do you live as though you touched reality, or as though you merely entertained yourself? This is not about policing every thought with fear. Fearful policing is still fear. It is about reverence. If an imaginal act is your creative word, treat it with dignity. Do not parade it. Do not beg it. Do not explain it to those who would drag it back into argument. Keep it inwardly holy by living from its implication. The technique tonight is to seal the word. Enter the drowsy state and repeat your chosen scene until it feels real enough to rest in. Then add one final gesture that implies completion. Close a book, turn off a lamp, place a cup in the sink, lie down beside the fulfilled life. Let the gesture say, "This is settled," not dramatic settled. After the scene, do not open a mental debate. Drift. If the mind asks how, answer with silence. If it asks when, return to the gesture. The lamp is off. The book is closed. The word has been spoken. Tomorrow, practice respect for the unseen. When the desire comes to mind, do not restart wanting. Briefly touch the fulfilled state and continue. Speak of yourself according to the new name. Let ordinary actions be consistent with the answered life. You are not pretending to the world. You are consenting inwardly to the reality you have chosen. Here is the final thing I would leave with you. A desire that refuses to come may not be asking for more force. It may be asking for a new identity so complete that the old waiting has nowhere to sit. The word becomes flesh when you stop calling it a wish. Keep the inner act real until the world has no choice but to resemble it. That's all for now. Thank you for spending this hour with the imaginal door. Subscribe, return often, and remain faithful to the life you are quietly assuming.